I have too vivid of a memory, and so I've taken bold five times, I think, and it just got to the point where I stopped taking it because it was like every time I'd walk in a class, I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do today, and I just knew what was gonna go on, and I didn't feel like I was getting as much out of it.
Sorry, I'm sending a code.
You're fine.
There might be timing. I mean, it might, yeah. Obviously, it's a lot of the times, like the old classic bold said, when a man walks in the river, not the same man, not the same river.
Right.
May not have been the right time for you. So, oh, there's a familiar face. Hey, Melissa, how are you? One of my buddies from Springfield.
First time Boulder.
First one, yes, that's right. So look at all these people coming in here. Admit all.
Yeah, I always saw bumps in my business when I took bold. I mean, that was good. Same way with when I first come back from mega camp or family reunion, same way I always have a bump, but
Well, there's no question that you'll benefit from it regardless. But you got to be obviously you've got to be willing to put in the work, and something we're not always ready to do that. I think, right?
well, that's true. That's true.
So let's see here. Right now, I don't know if I'll have Don, but Kelly, I'm going to make you co-host right now. You can help let people in. So if we get going, I think Matt will be here. We'll get started here in just a second. Ah. He will be on. All right, we'll start. You guys, thanks for being on. This is being recorded. It will go to my YouTube channel, Denny's Mastery of Real Estate, and over 1,000 subscribers. So my goal is I want one of those little YouTube things I can put in the frame behind me when I get to 2,000. So you guys can help me get there. I appreciate you being on. I see familiar faces from this morning, Debbie and Susan. Thank you for being on, because we have the opportunity to go a little bit deeper, and we have an opportunity to be interactive. And I understand that, I hope you understand that during our 90 minutes, the framework that they set up for us in Recon, it's kind of like we don't have a lot of interaction time, correct? This is your hour, and we'll pour into you. It is, we can't like drag on one thing for like 45 minutes. However, we want you to grow, and when you grow, other people are going to grow. So I have something I want to share with you. I'm going to wait a few minutes to get other people on. One of the things that has not happened yet on Recon or even Mastery that I want you to think about, and we'll do your role plays if you want. Remember, you guys have just left a presentation, many of you, that may have gone well, maybe it didn't go well, or you've got a presentation coming up. You should say, hey, listen, I want to be the buyer or seller. I want you to channel the person you're meeting with, and allow me, and then Matt will be able to do it too. Allow us to maybe model for you how we would handle that conversation. And then, you don't have to do it that way, but I think it would be a new way for you to take advantage of maybe hearing someone else. Matt is very confident. I'm very confident. I cannot be outscripted. Now, am I saying that everything I say will turn into like, a transaction? No. I can't, not every punch I swing at will land, but nothing will knock me off my feet. Does that make sense? So with that being said, I'm here alone so far. So why don't we have a conversation? There were a couple things that happened earlier. I can watch the chat, or you can just come on mic and talk to me. What would you like to talk about today? We have a full hour. We don't have a hard stop at 2 o'clock. If we're going to go to 5:30, I'm going to probably go get a glass of wine. So we don't have a hard stop. So what would you guys like to talk about first? I know there's a couple maybe points of unfinished business from recon, but I'll let whoever wants to go first go first. Don't be shy.
Susan would like to go.
Are you now outside of your body?
So I think I found a solution. I know that you can't really cancel a contract, but he was entertaining the fact that my buyer, a friend of mine, she could afford it. Okay, she's getting
Stop. We got a new audience now, so let's bring everybody up to speed so
Okay.
everyone can learn from this. Okay.
Okay. So there's a house that I thought they were preparing the house to go on for sale in the public market. But when I knocked on the door, the beneficiary said that they're in escrow. And then I thought, oh, wow. And I asked, how much did it go for? And they said 1.5. I said, in this area, you could get a little bit more than that. I said, would you entertain my client that may be offering a little bit more? So they say, okay. And then I'm like, okay, so would you consider backup? And they say, okay. So my client went to see the property. She loved it, knowing that needs about $200,000 to $250,000 worth of work, basic work. So I asked them, can you please give me a number to start with? And he said, no, they're not comfortable with giving me a number. So naturally, I was going to text back. Now, all this just started yesterday. He was texting back and forth.
So hang on before you get into the weeds. So for everyone that didn't hear it this morning, is that she's in California. Everything there's, probably 7 figures. They're in probably still a seller's market where inventory is a little tight, unlike Florida. She knocks on the door, finds out somebody who's got a buyer for that particular property. I don't think it's listed.
It's not listed.
And they've already have a contract pending, what they call it an escrow. And so you're a contract state. So it's there, you don't have to, like in New York, it has to go to an attorney for an approval, blah, blah, blah. You're a contract state. So it's under contract, correct?
Right.
Her buyer wants to buy it. Okay, now bring us into home base. We had a conversation earlier today, which you said you did offer to be a backup. So pick up the story from there. Where are we at that point?
So the backup is, now that I was thinking about, I asked him to give me a number that would work, and using Chris Voss's negotiation, you don't give them a number. You want them to give you a number. So he said they're not.
Do you want the seller to give you the number or the buyer?
Yes.
Okay,
no,
so
the seller.
Well, all right. So I'm going to ask some questions. So we'll keep this going back and forth as a dialogue. It was listed at what?
It was not listed. It's a private stuff for 1.5.
So it was never by owner. Nothing is ever published.
Nothing.
So you asked them. Okay. So you ask them what they're asking for the home, correct?
Right. So this buyer is a family member or family friend that's going to buy and flip it. So that's the caveat there, right?
But do they know what the seller's asking?
Yeah, they want 1.5. They're in essence for 1.5. They're in contract for 1.5 in your language.
Got it. So when you say what's your number, you already know they're asking 1.5.
Right. And he told me their offer in terms is no inspection, no contingencies, all cash. And I said my boss could provide that too. So that's where we're at. I asked them to give me the numbers of their bottom line, and we could provide that, considering that we may have to.
All right, so let me move this forward so we can get into it. A lot of the details aren't going to matter. I'm just imagining if my house is under contract and the agent's knocking on my door and that that I'm asking 1.5 and you say I've got a buyer at once and you ask me what's my number, I'm going to say I'm asking 1.5. You want them to tell you what the contract is? It's existing?
No. So here's the caveat. In order to make it something compelling, why would he want to go with my offer? Because now he's going to have, and the agent is now he's going to have to pay me my service fee. Okay. So I already factored that into it. So the service fee is included. The service fee is 1.5 on top of service fee. And on top of that, there is something called the assignment contract.
let's keep it so everyone's kind of into it without the details. My point is this: if you are trying to get into a contract that's already existing, and you have a buyer who wants the contract, and you can put it in the chat how your experience has been. If you ask the seller, what's your bottom line? If you're asking me that, I'm not telling you. I'm asking 1.5, and I will tell you this. If it sold for more than that, Susan, I'd say I was asking 1.5. I've got an offer stronger than that.
1.7. I think that would be compelling for them.
Okay, so now, all right, so does everybody agree with me that generally speaking, if you happen to be the seller, are you laying your cards face down on the table?
Mhm.
No. So, all right, so if I understood you right, so you'd have to go back to the buyer, and they already are kind of somehow involved in the transaction. They may have some inside information. Let's pick up a conversation right now, Susan. What did you tell me is the buyer? All right, I'm going to ask you the question and role play with me. It may not be exactly right, but I want you to fill in the blanks because we're going to learn from the role play. So I understand you went and talked to the seller. What do I need to offer to get this house, Susan?
So then in order to get this house, they're at 1.5. There was no service fee involved with another agent. In order for you to do this, you need to provide the service fee on top of something that's compelling for them to move with
Okay.
you.
Now, everyone's going to benefit on the rest of this conversation because I have found that, and we just got out of this in Florida a little over a year or so ago. Some of you are still in it, particularly Melissa, you guys up in the Boston area and even parts of the Northeast. You're still in a tight inventory market. Your buyers are going to ask you, what should I do? Because inventory is selling fast. I would like to get the house. So this is the role play. I'm going to go. I'm going to be the buyer, Susan. I got that. It's got to be compelling. What do you recommend I do?
So do you think 125,000 more than what they have now is compelling for them to cancel that contract? Or do you want to offer something even more so with right now, what they have on table is now no contingency. You did the walkthrough. You
Okay.
know what you need to fix.
So, all right. So let's break this down. When we meet with sellers, and we'll talk about this in our role plays today. There's something I really encourage you guys to do. I mean, no, encourage is the wrong word. I stress for you guys to do not put your fingerprints on the number when you're talking to sellers. So I'm going to be just as strong as when you're working with buyers. What? Don't put your fingerprints on the number. So I'm going to ask you, Susan, where did the 125 come from?
Oh, I'm me talking to the buyer. The 125.
You're talking to me as the buyer.
Yes. So
I said, what is it going to take for me to get this house?
Something compelling for them to move forward with you. And that's all about the bottom line number.
Got it. And what do you recommend that I do?
Well, right now they're 1.5. And I recommend that perhaps maybe a 200. And then on top of that, a service fee.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm from Florida. Don't make me do math. All right.
Okay, so maybe at least 1.750.
Okay. Now, all right. So are you saying 1.750 is the number I should go in at?
That's my recommendation.
Okay. Let's stop. Susan is a veteran on this, and so she is a sponge. And so I'll be talking on this role play, but here's the lesson for everyone. If you're working with a buyer and they ask you what they should invest, how do you answer that question? So I'm going to turn it back to you, Susan, so you can finish your part of this. How do you handle that question without putting your fingerprints on the price?
What do you feel that's compelling? If you were in a seller situation, you're already in contract for 1.5, and they're not paying any service fee. There's no contingent, it's no cash offer. What do you think you might accept as a seller?
Okay, better. Now can I just reverse the role here a moment? I don't know anything about all these other fees you have in California, but it doesn't surprise me. This is how when you're working with a buyer, how you can give them great advice. Hey, Matt, good to see you. This is how you can give them great advice. Well, here's what we know. They're asking 1.5, and there's all these other things you have to factor in. So just doing some math based on the trend of the market, would it surprise you that the seller is going to get an offer higher than asking price? We're in role play, Susan. You're the buyer.
Yes, I don't know, honestly, I really don't know.
Well,
Yes,
well, if,
yes.
if they're a buyer in the market and with any kind of seasoning, meaning they have been there a while, they probably know. And if they're not, you can educate them. Yes. So would you not? So wouldn't you agree that if you want the girl that's my 8th grade girlfriend, Yvonne, if you want to go out with Yvonne, she's already got a boyfriend, you're going to have a compelling offer. Y'all get my drift, right? Just equal is not going to do it. So
Absolutely.
when I just do math on it based on the fees, etc., it wouldn't shock me that would be above 1.7. How do you feel about that? And there's no guarantee, but I'm saying that may be in the ballpark. Are you a player or not?
Okay.
No, you're role playing with me, Susan.
I'm the buy, yeah, but you see, you know, Denny, there's about $250,000 worth of work in there. And that would bring me up to $2 million property, but meanwhile, I could go buy a $2 million property and I don't have to worry about it.
Is that what you would rather do?
Well, I really like this community because it's gated and I feel more comfortable in it. That's the reason why I want it, and it's the location too. Those are her words.
It's okay. Listen, if let's go back to my era growing up. It's my birthday. My mom gives me $10 to go into Sears. You got $10 for your birthday. Go buy something with $10. What's the given? I have $10. Or she says, pick out one thing. I have to say no to everything. So who's in a situation like this? Where is the pressure cooker? Who's in the pressure cooker? It's not you.
The buyer.
Yes. Don't hop in it with them. Matt, you heard part of that. Any comments?
Yeah. She was saying that you could go somewhere else and buy another property, and here going to be at $2 million here. I could go somewhere else and spend $2 million. But then your client pointed out the fact that, well, I really like this neighborhood and it's gated. Well, my next question then is going to be, well, what's most important to you? Is it this neighborhood, or is it the $2 million number? Or getting what's more important to you? Getting a home that doesn't need any work, or being in this neighborhood? That's the question.
No, notice what he's done there. He's coaching, saying, okay, well, you've got $10, you're in Sears. Would you rather go over here and buy puzzles, or do you want a G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip? Susan, go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I think he was just going through the pain.
Say it again.
He was just going after the pain.
What pain?
She really needed a gated community.
Right. So, so what I'm hearing you say is the most important aspect of this is not the home that you can get for a certain price that doesn't need work. What's most important is being in having the security of the gated community.
That's exactly it. I love that.
So if you could have the security of the gated community, which I can't change that, but it came with having to spend whatever number you're comfortable with to secure this home and then do some work to it, would you be willing to do it?
So can we put a bow in it now, Susan? Let me land the plane here. Now that we've had the conversation, they want to go that way, blah, 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 understand what? So it's probably going to be north of 1.7. Would you like my advice?
Yes.
Then make your strongest offer up front. What is that number? Now, notice here's what I want everyone to know. and we've talked about this before, Matt. When you put a number on it and you're wrong and they don't get the house, they will blame you. And what you want to do is stay away from that. The other thing is when you say 1.7 or whatever, and that's what you think, they might have been thinking 1.8. You may have talked them out of that house because you wanted to thump your chest and feel like you've done a good job of saving them money. Does that make
That's
sense?
true.
Don't
Yeah.
go down that road. Any comments, Matt?
No, that's it. They don't. Famous last words of real estate. I only have one set of famous last words of real estate. But you said. If you ever hear "but you said" from a buyer or a seller, you failed fundamentally.
They will not remember anything you said of value, but if you gave them bad advice, they'll never forget it.
Yep. And I've got a client right now on Anna Maria Island. We listed their home at 1.2 to start because it made sense. And this goes back to what I always have said here and on the role plays. Doesn't matter what I think. Does not matter what Matthew Sharp thinks. And it doesn't matter what you, the homeowner, Susan, want. We can't get a buyer to write the check. We're both wrong. Okay. So we positioned it at 1.2. We're about to have a conversation today about how we may need to reposition. Now, I know what the number is. They're going under 900,000. We're at 950 right now. But I'm not going to touch that price. I'm just going to ask them, what would you like to reposition it to see how the market responds? Because we know what they're saying no to. But don't put your fingers on it, because the second that you do, well, I think, based off of what I'm seeing, now I will say things along the line of, well, based off what we're seeing, Susan, it could easily have an 8 in front of it. The question is where in that spectrum. I might say something to that regard, but I'm not gonna say it's this right here. It is this right here.
Right.
Because if it doesn't work, it's your fault.
That was my comment. It's just what he's saying. What Matt's saying is you did the math, Susan, and you can say it wouldn't surprise me. Notice how I said that if it was greater than 1.7. Now, if they just go nuclear and there's no way they do it, well, all right, go to the next home.
Yeah. See, that is what I'm afraid of, because if they say
whoa, why?
You're not afraid of anything.
No, really, guys, why are you afraid, Susan?
Well, I think he kind of mumbled $2 million for the house. And I said to him, okay, I said, he was a builder. I said to him, you know what? Show me a $2 million home in the condition that you have right now. That's sold for $2 million.
So
I said that to him.
Yeah, you put your foot in your mouth.
You're talking to the seller now, right?
Yes, I talked to the seller, right? Because he kind of mumbled saying, I'm just, thinking off the top of my head, 2 million. I'm like, no.
Well, Matt, now this is an interesting point, you guys, in the strategy of negotiation. The seller is not her client.
Right.
So in that case, you could say, man, you're one of those sellers that smoke sweet and low, aren't you? I mean, it's okay to cast some doubt in your enemy's camp, but don't do it in your camp.
Yeah. The deadliest drug in the world. Hopium. Yep, hopium. But yeah, it's funny. I let those things I glaze over those things. I have a guy called me back yesterday, wants to meet with me, house in Waimama, and I sold the neighbor's house. This guy's an expired, and he completely discarded me months ago. Like months ago, he said, pound sand, lose my number. Well, I got a call from him. He wants to meet with me. I'm going somewhere with this. And he said, well, yeah, we're ready to sell now. We want to get back up to Delaware. And I said, okay, well, what price were you want? And he said, well, I see what's on the market in the neighborhood. It's not moving at 8. And he said, and I see what you sold that house for, but, I know their situation. It was kind of like he was baiting me. I know they had a sensitive situation. They had to sell. And, I see what you sold it for. I sold it for $729. Like, they did great considering the market, frankly. everything over H just sit and grow and stale. And he said, but that was kind of like the bait. Like he was trying to like get me to start talking to that, what I sold them for. And then he dropped the bomb. He's like, well, we were hoping we could get around 750. And there was a pause because I know what he wanted. He wanted me to engage at that number as well. He wanted to get me to start talking to it. I said, okay, gotcha. And what time next week would you like to meet? And just let it go. Because he wanted to take my temperature on the phone for what he was thinking.
And agents will do that too, to
Yep.
you. Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys have to be like bats. You got to understand when someone's dangling a fake worm in front of you, don't bite it. Now, I'm going to go with my thought of the day, Matt, and we get into some different things. And I know basically, Deb, there's if you're I know you're there somewhere. We didn't finish everything, I don't think, today for you, but I'm going to ask you a question, guys. And this happened. Matt is always giving you timely stuff. This happened to me yesterday too. So I'm going to ask you a question. A real estate, and this happens all the time anyway, but this is what made me think of it. A real estate friend of mine called me and said, and she respects my advice. She's not on my team, but she said, hey, listen, I'm working with a buyer from Colorado and they want to come to Florida, and he's a professional. And he asked me the question, and this was the question. Basically, what's going to be happening with the residential market in your area in 2026? So my question is, people are asking us things like that all the time. Now, you probably have your radar up, knowing that right now you may not answer it right now the way you would have yesterday, because you know probably some of the things we talk about. So I want you to think about, how would you have answered that yesterday? And so I'll tell you how the end of the story went, and then you will have a discussion about it. And she said, well, I'll tell you what, let me tell you what my broker said. It's a very prominent broker. My broker said 2026 is going to be hot. Market's going to be turning around. Buyers are becoming off the fence, and the market's going to be groovy basically in 2026. That's what's going to happen. Make sure you tell your buyer that. Well, number one, if that person was clairvoyant and 100% knew that to be a fact, which we know that's not true, do you think anyone's going to believe it because it sounds so self-serving? Then I said, okay, well, let me give you my take on it. Other than asking questions about the buyer's motivation, this, that, and the other, here's what I suggested she do. And I'll give you my thesis. And I think this is going to be my post today. And it would be a great post to you. I saw Maria on, I don't know if she's on or Polina, but they've been following my videos. I said, why don't you call the buyer? And I'm going to go to Matt, the buyer, and say, hey, listen, you're in Colorado. Well, let me ask you, what do you know about the market here right now, Matt? Go ahead.
I think it's starting to, it's starting to decline, I think.
Well, good. So it looks like you've done your homework. Well, just a couple of different facts about the market. We're in a buyer's market now. We're seeing inventory increase, which gives you more selection and also puts downward pressure on prices. We have sellers who are motivated and then are willing to cut deals and be very competitive. And by the way, and this is something you should memorize, guys. Do you know, Matt, when the best time is to sell or to buy? I'm sorry. When the best time is to buy? Most of them will say no or give you some crazy answer. The best time to buy is when sellers fear the market is worse. The market will be worse tomorrow than today. Mm-hmm. We're in that situation now, Matt. So let me ask you, we are dealing with the first buyer's market we've had in 12 years. So my question is, do you want to work in that market or roll the dice on what may be happening later in 2026? Now, to have the discussion, here's my V8 moment. This will be the thesis of my post. Something that creates a little curiosity. What's one question to determine if you're going to work with a professional agent or not? And the question is, what's going to happen with the market next year? And then the copy is going to be, if they answer that question by giving you an idea what next year is going to be, they've automatically disqualified themselves to be a professional. Now, you guys know that I'm a football fan. And, my Bucks play Detroit on Monday Night Football. And do you know there's some people that think the Bucks are going to win? And there's some professionals that think the Lions are going to win. So what do you think about the real estate market in 2026? That broker said, hey, it's going to be hot. Might be right. But for everyone says the market's going to be hot, I can find someone that has the opposite opinion. So do you understand why you would never want to go down that road? You're just showing yourself that you have no earthly idea that if that potential buyer or seller is looking for something down the road, yet right in front of them is the best time to move forward. And by the way, that's the only information that we have that's accurate. Why wouldn't you lay that card? So am I making too much out of nothing, or do you think that's somewhat significant?
Anybody?
Anyone's gonna say pass the mashed potatoes? I mean, maybe it's no big deal.
Hey,
But
I think it's,
go ahead.
yeah, so I think it's important, and I'm a data geek. I consider myself to be that, and I'm not to other people. But even the Federal Reserve doesn't pick winners and losers without getting too technical. If they did, then everyone would have that crystal ball like the picture behind you, right? So, and then that would be unstable. So, and that would create instability in the market if you picked winners and losers all the time. So if that's the case at a large macro level, then at a micro level or a hyper local level, then telling someone that is pure speculation, right? And you're ruining the opportunity to actually save the profession, so to speak, by going through an analysis that you have no clue of what's going to happen. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Anybody else? I know Matt's dying to hop in there, but he's given you that podium. What else do you hear me say? How many people would have given some sort of analysis of 2026 instead of saying, no, I'm not going down that road?
No, I would not. I absolutely would not go down that road. We cannot predict, I mean, all I can say is what some of the economists like Lawrence Yun are saying, that we're going to, huh?
No, but, yes, but for Lawrence Yun, now
But
if that's not the pot calling the kettle black, there's a chief economist of the National Association of Realtors. There could be one home sale in all the United States, and he'd find a way to spin that positively.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, no, I would not speculate what's going to happen in 2026
Yeah, that's
Well,
like-
just this morning, I mean, there's articles that totally changed the narrative from how bad it was to how good it's going to be in 2026 for the housing market. So it's total. The prognosticators will always be the prognosticators, but that's what separates real estate professionals from those prognosticators. So sorry, go ahead.
We just recently worked with a buyer, and they were on the fence and potentially signing another year lease and supporting what Denny said. We asked them if they would rather have bought 1 day early than 1 year too late. So, because we don't know what the market's going to do later, but with what Denny just said now, I didn't say exactly that, but we know that we could negotiate, and we did, and they did well, and they were happy, and we went under contract. But they felt that they would rather buy now in this market and know what it is than not know what it could be in the future. Rates go down, becomes a stronger market, harder to negotiate.
Thank you, David. Matt, chime in. I know you're dying to.
Honestly, if someone asked me, I would just say, if I have a crystal ball, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. And
Yeah,
I know, but we're not allowed to say that. That's forbidden for us to say anymore. We have our little rules. That's one of them we can't say. Although I'm showing you the picture behind me.
Yeah.
well,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's like, I mean, when somebody's asking what's going to happen next year, I mean, before COVID, I mean, do you think anybody predicted that COVID was going to happen? I mean, the whole world can change in a matter of a flick of a switch. I mean, it's just, Why would you ever want to try and predict that?
Yeah. So I sent Denny a quote earlier after our role play, and it was along Debbie's role play and a couple others, and it said that it's not our job to prove them wrong. It's not our job to prove them wrong. It's to find out what happens if they are. So it's not our job to prove somebody wrong. It's our job to find out what happens if they are. So when I get questions like this, I typically like to find out what's the basis of the question. Like, I don't even go into like, well, if it's this and this person says this and it's a no, if you ask me a question, what's the market going to do in 2026? Great question. What's the basis of it? It sounds like you have a reason for asking. So that I know I know where they're coming from. Because it's like when you go, I'm listening to hold on. It's in there somewhere. I was knocking on it. If you could see, I was knocking on my head. That I was listening to something the other day when the teachers are taught with children when they come to you, do you want to be heard, helped, or hugged? So it's like, do you have a question? Do you want me to listen to you? Just listen to you, or do you need me to hug you? Like, do you just need some help? So in that situation, I that's how I figure it out. But I'm naturally inquisitive. So what's the basis of the question? Okay. And then they're going to say, well, this is the basis of the question. This is where I'm coming from. Okay. Now that I understand that, what are you hoping is going to happen? Then I pull that out of them, what they hope to see happen, what they think is going to happen, their perception. Okay. And then unfortunately, I burst their bubble in a lot of cases. And that is, well, what's your plan if it doesn't? In other words, I'm always inquisitive to that degree. Like, because frankly, I don't know what's going to happen. But what is your plan? You ask me for this reason. What happens if it doesn't go that way? Make sense?
Yes, that's the conversation part of it that I said we're not going to go down that road. But you would have that conversation. The thing that I want you guys to know is, and my post, I see the girls there. I'm gonna, regardless, don't answer. Don't give them your thoughts on the future. You can tell what the trends are, or whatever. But if you start talking about the future, particularly, I can't believe what the broker said. Hey, next week's going to be, or next year is going to be hot. You're just showing what you don't know. So, let's fill it in. So, I know, Deb, we might want to get to yours in a little bit, but there's some people here on that may have some questions and role plays they want to practice with us. So, who's next? We don't have anybody watching the control tower, so you're just going to have to raise your hand and speak up.
Can I go?
Yes.
Meeting with the seller who says other two agents gave him an estimate how much his home is going to sell for, so he doesn't want to know how much his home is worth.
So you're meeting with a seller that's had two other people tell him what it's going to sell for?
Yes.
And I don't understand the second part of it.
And he's confident that it can't sell for below this number. So he doesn't even want to hear you out.
Okay, so you can't get the appointment with them.
Yes.
Are you on the phone then?
Yes.
All right. Got it, Matt?
Not really.
All right, I do. I got this one. So, all right, go.
So, Denny, could you please remind me what's prompting you to put the home on the market?
Well, we're going to move into the birdbath communities down the road.
Mm-hmm. And how soon would you like to be there?
We're flexible, but we're tired. We're tired of this house, and the neighbors they're really cranky. So, definitely before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And what happens if you don't move there before Christmas?
Not even a possibility. We're going to move.
Okay. And understanding that you need to be there before Christmas, at what I guess now I'm confused where I want to go.
Okay, so let me help you out. Well, I'm just trying to be polite. We've already talked to a couple of agents. We've interviewed 2 agents. They've given us a number that I think is reasonable. So I think we're good. You know, so thank you very much. You sound very sweet.
Understanding that you need this home sold before Christmas, do you think getting a second opinion from a professional would benefit you?
No, we've had 2 agents, totally independent, and their numbers are both within a few $1,000s. We're pretty confident that's the number.
And what gives you that confidence?
We had 2 people. Well, if you had 2 people appraise your home and the appraisal came within like 5,000, would that give you a level of confidence?
And what happens if the home doesn't sell at this number?
So now you don't know where you're driving. So, you know, so here's my two cents in this, is that at some point in time, our conversations aren't going to work. Like, for example, if they're already engaged and they're on the way to the wedding, probably you're not going to get them to go out with you. Now, I don't know, let Matt have some pixie dust out of his pocket there that would drop a bomb on their thinking. What would come up in your mind, Matt, other than maybe they've already made up their mind?
How did you guys get to this point?
Matt, can I make it, I think I'll make it more clear. You're meeting with a seller. You're competing for the listing. Other agents have given a higher numbers than what you are about to bring. And the seller is saying, I'm not listing it below this number because these other 2 agents are proving me that I will get it. But you have a totally different proof. Is that more clear?
That's a different scenario than what we just talked about.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I'm not. So, well, are you with them at the table?
Yes, you're about to be with them at the table, and they're willing to hear you out, but they are telling you that these other 2 agents are promising a higher number. So what are you doing here with a lower number?
What? No, wait a minute. That suggests you gave them a number which violates rule number 1.
No, like they're telling you that they wouldn't go below that number, but you're bringing in comps that will tell him that it's below that number. Does that make sense?
So, you know, Matt, I'll let Matt talk, so I've had my share, but we handled this like 3 times today. I don't know if you were on, but this is a typical seller's got this number in mind, and it's the better way. I'll let Matt finish it though.
Yeah. So I mean, in that situation, I would say, well, if you've met with 2, right?
Yes.
And we're your 3rd.
Yes.
Well, why not meet with a 4th and hope that the number's higher than the first 2?
Because I trust the last 2.
Okay. And what would cause you to not trust us?
Because I don't know you.
And you know the other 2?
Yes.
How do you know the other 2?
They're my friends.
So why didn't you hire them?
Because I wanted to hear your opinion as well.
Okay. And what would you have to hear from me today to know, trust, and want to hire me?
I need to sell the home. I need to get this home sold, and I'm just looking to get the top number. So that's why I figured I would talk to another one.
Okay. So if you felt that my number, well, actually, it's not my number, frankly. If you felt that the number we parted here today with was a number that made sense to you that you would sell for, yeah, if the number we discussed today you felt was the top number that we would position at, what else would you need to know from me or us to know that we're the right people to help you?
If you are able to offer any more options as far as getting my home sold, that's it.
Well, I do have one option that I know will get your home sold.
What is it?
Are you ready to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a market accepted price. Okay.
But why are these other 2 agents giving me a higher number?
Hang on a minute. His questions, and this is really key, you guys, and this comes from experience, is that everything he's asking, you can't memorize. It's just a logical thing. Like He's just asking questions about what they're saying because we don't really know unless we ask a question. So he's pretty logical. Now, his last question was risky. And I'm just I'm gonna be the fly in the wall and editorialize what maybe Matt's doing is that he doesn't ask a question without already knowing the potential answers and if it's going to help his cause or hurt his cause. I think basically when you bring out this seller wants a number. Now he said to put it at a certain number. Now you could have had a lot of yes momentum with the question. Well, okay, so if I agree at that number, are you ready to hire me? And if so, why? If they say yes, and why? Okay, we've been down that road a bazillion times. But he asked a question that would put a little tension in that conversation. And I have an idea why he did it, but I'm going to ask him why. Why did you do that?
The one at the end, because she used very intentional words of, we need to get the home sold. Okay, and we want then she said something about a certain number. And I said, well, or if there's want to know if we need to get the home sold and we want to know what you may be able to do or tactic, whatever. Well, I do have one tactic. Do you want to know what it is? Okay, and that is because I won't go into the semantics of it, but it's a market accepted price. How do we know what the market accepted price is? Well, what's the number you'd like? And then we can agree to position at that, and we'll see whether the market accepts it or not.
Got it. The interesting thing is, in this particular scenario, he's got a problem. Do you know what it is? First of all right, so he has a problem. He doesn't know what it is. So you're telling me you've got two friends that give you the same. Now, did you interview these friends independently? Blah, blah, blah. Yes. And they both gave you an acceptable range. Yes. Which friend are you willing to lose?
Yeah, is it possible that the friends are giving you that number because they don't want to hurt your feelings and they may not even believe it will sell for that amount?
It's possible, but it's an independent event. The likelihood of them both lying at the same number would be low. But what we're going to do, we're going to introduce the fact that, well, you're going to have to say no to one and yes to the other. How is that going to affect your friendship? That would be a path, correct?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I get stuck on in conversation, or not that I get stuck on, the thing that I like to hyper focus on in this situation is they've already heard something that they wanted to hear. So why hear more? That's what I don't understand. What are you hoping to hear? That's why I went down the path that I went down. You've already interviewed two. You're interviewing me as a third. So what are you hoping to hear if you've already heard two things that you'd like to hear from people that you know and trust? What are we hoping to gain or benefit from this meeting?
So Matt, I want to throw this out there to you. I would have asked that right from the beginning, just because that's how my mind goes. How is that? What is a good way to go about that question directly without? Because to me, I'm in that conversation. They've already decided. Like, to me, they're not qualified for me to even work with them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So to me, I go straight to that question. What is it you haven't heard already that you don't like? How do you do that with a good flow without, losing the likability part?
Well, it depends on where it depends on where the conversation naturally flows. I mean, if they come right out of the gate and they're just saying that, hey, we've already met with two people and we really liked what they had to say, and which is what I'm guessing we're talking about here, then I just am instinctively curious, intuitive, or inherently curious. Okay, was it something you heard or something you didn't hear that caused you to feel like you didn't want to commit to one of them? In other words, so guys, you know how I've always talked about detachment? That is the ultimate form of detachment. It's no longer about them interviewing me. Now I'm interviewing them to find out why they didn't commit to the other people. Like I'm siding with the other agents almost to see if we need to keep this conversation going. So what is it you heard? What is it you didn't hear from the other two that caused you to feel like you still needed to meet with me today?
Yeah, they seem to be comfortable with the number, but they're still looking for something.
Right.
They have an itch that hasn't been scratched. That's, I think, what Matt's trying to say.
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, so if I could agree with that number, would you hire me over one of your friends? If no, that's a conversation you have to go down. If yes, then well, great. Then why? Let them sell you to them. But I'm shocked that they gave you the appointment. Does that help you, ladies? You never even got into specific pricing, did you? You just showed them comparables. Now, but the other thing is this: a question that can come up is, all right, your friends met with you independently. Evidently, they've come up with a different number. Did they show you different? I don't say comps. Did they show you other data points, other homes to justify it? People talk is cheap, but what are they showing you? Because there can't be any other comparables out there unless they're using something that doesn't apply.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be another road to go and kind of poke holes in the methodology.
I guess we just struggle with verbalizing what we want to say. Like, even if you are just, they have this number and you can't prove to them that they can't get this number. And like Matt is saying,
that's not important.
Yeah, stop right there. You're not trying to prove anything.
Yeah, detachment, I know.
Well, this is like Matt's text that he sent to me. I wasn't sure why he sent it, but now I know. But so what is the number? What is the number? Maria, what is the number?
640.
So are you saying then if we were to initially position at 640, so you don't have to choose between your friends, would you hire us to get your home sold?
Yes.
I mean, now you know you're on familiar ground right there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Now that knuckle bump, now that we've agreed on the initial positioning, can we talk about what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we're not selling them on anything. And then Matt's text was, well, what happens if the market says no to that? What's your plan B?
Yeah, it's not our job to, guys, like tattoo this somewhere on your body, all of you. It's not our job to prove them wrong. It's to find out what happens if they are. And if they are wrong, it's our job to find out what happens if they are wrong. Meaning they want $1 million, market saying 500. I know that's, ridiculous, but they want $1 million, market saying 500. All right. It's $1 million. It's 2 million. Hell, it's 3. We'll keep going up. We can play the game. What happens if we're wrong?
There you go.
Does
So yeah, we talked to you a little bit today. Did we complete our role play? And understand, Deb, and I hate having to cut you off during the recon, but we just got to keep that moving. But now we have
I understand.
So we can have a dialogue now if you want. Did we help you?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed because I've done well with this role play the last couple of times, and but usually the what they want to price it at is usually 50 to 75, no more than 100. But Matt came up with like what, $150,000 over.
Watch my lips.
Over the price. So
just watch my lips. Well,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I know you said $1 million, 2 million, whatever. Yeah.
So you guys, what we're teaching you is this, and there's some good agents here, some great agents here. I said this to my bold room. I just had a listing panel with some great people up north. They're winning 8 or 9 or 9.5 times out of 10. And you know what? 80% of the sellers are going to fall right in lockstep with they're going to be reasonable. They're going to fall in lockstep with your list of market trends, etc. They're not going to be smoking sweet and low or hope-aluminium, as Matt says.
Correct.
8 out of 10 you're going to be groovy with.
Right.
What I'm really dogmatic about is how you handle the other 20%. So if you can close
Mhm.
20% more people, will that help your bottom line? And these are the
Well,
patients
yes.
that don't want to go to surgery right away. What they want is to use Windex on their rash until it doesn't work. Let them. That's their prescription. I'm trying to say
I get it.
different ways.
I get it.
But
So, I
I'm
mean, should
talking to
I do?
everybody, Debbie. I'm not preaching to you. I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the advice we give here, guys, isn't personal. It just might sound like it because it's your scenario. Just like Tony Robbins talks about how our brain, it's like I'm looking at Kelly right now. Kelly, your brain, because I know the problems you have because we've talked about it before. Like you're a lot like me. You go default aggressive and like take it personal. That's not new to you, Kelly. Okay, and I think I've been in real estate longer than you. I'm not sure. It wasn't new to me either when I was having the same problems 15 years ago. Okay. And guess what? It wasn't new. Yeah, it wasn't new to me, and it wasn't new to the other guy who had the same problem. Our brain is a 2 million-year-old brain. It has defaults. So the advice we're giving is just collective because you're all here. It's not personal. We all have the same stupid problems. I'm sure when Denny got into it, he had the same problems. Guys, I'm going to say it again. Detach. We are not here. I'll ask you this way. What do you win? And guys, introspective, like look at me if you're on camera right now. What do you win if you're right and you don't get hired?
0. Yeah.
Make sure the other agent sends you a Christmas card with a Starbucks.
Right. Yeah, because guys, this guy right here, me, I've been right more times than not.
Yep.
And I haven't gotten the listing. And guess what? When it sold really daggum close to the number I thought I interpreted it would sell for. You know, the one problem though, I didn't get the damn commission check in the mail.
So
Yeah, that's what happened to me on my last listing appointment. This is, well, quite honestly, before recon, but.
So Matt, when you take your wins to the bank, can you cash them? Although they just win. I mean, you were right, but you didn't get the check.
No, the sad thing is I told the teller, I'm like, look, I had this conversation. I got up there and I told him my story. I said, look, Mrs. Teller, this might not make sense to you. I talked to this homeowner a year ago. They wanted way too much money for their house. They hired another agent. It sat on the market for a really long time. And it just sold 2 days ago for what I told them it was going to sell for. I was just hoping you might be able to give me 3% of that number, in my bank account today. It didn't work. Never does.
Yeah, I've watched 2 listing appointments I went on one I'm watching right now, but it's coming down and coming down, and it's going to probably end up selling for what I told them right.
But
that's happened. And so, yeah, but I'm not going to get the commission check.
But
yeah.
So guys, remember, Ozzy wrote it, de-effing-tatch. Detach. Stop trying to be right. Stop trying to be right. Find out what happens if they're wrong. Stop trying to be
unless you want to be more frustrated than a bee in a raid factory.
That's right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Daniel, what's up?
So before the question, I just want to say the guy went with me, not because of price, but we did say a price, and now the pricing conversations are awkward because the market rejected it. And now we have to, again, what matters is what are they going to do if they don't accept the price? Now it's what you said. But anyways, my question is, when do you say no to a listing if somebody's unrealistic on the number, right? In Matt's scenario, they want to list for 1 million. Okay, should we agree?
It's easy, it's simple. I'll give you a quick answer, Matt, and give you a quick answer. If they have no motivation and they're unrealistic. So if they're smoking hopium and don't have a motivation, you're a dopium.
Right. Yep. My answer to this is simply put, the only time I turn a listing down is when they don't need my help. And when I say need, understand what need means. Like you don't need to brush your teeth. Okay. You don't really need to.
Not
They're
for
just
you
gonna,
all.
they're just gonna rot out of your head. Okay. But there are some things we need to do in life. We need to drink water or some type of fluid. We need to eat. Okay. What happens? What's the alternative? You die. Okay. So when they need my help, meaning they have to get that property sold at all costs,
Mhm.
okay, I don't care what the number is. As long as when we have that conversation of what happens if the market says no, they say, well, then we're going to have a conversation. Those are words to my music to my ears. All right, roger that. I'll be there for that conversation. As long as you're not disappointed with me if in 6 months the home hasn't sold, because the only answer I'll have is the market hasn't accepted your price.
Really fast. Susan, you got your hand up. I just noticed it. Do you have a question for Susan?
Yeah, I am wondering, are we still using the pricing agreement strategy where, your example was fishing in a parking lot? You're not gonna catch anything because your worm's sitting on the asphalt. And we're gonna, do this by how many showings are we getting? How much interest are we getting? Yada, yada. If we don't get that, here's our next move in getting them to actually sign that pricing agreement when we have, somebody that's not an opioid, but,
Got it.
maybe they're
Well-
hitting the crack pipe here and there.
So we're talking about the 20% of people that have that have their number. They want they want to do it their way. We're talking about those 20%, not the ones that are going to listen to you. The 20% that aren't, that have motivation. The ones that are going to sell with someone else and not you. Do you have the conversation with them? Yes, but the conversation takes place after the knuckle bump. So if you agree, Matt, at 1.5 million. If we can agree on that, have you made the decision to hire me?
Yes.
Knuckle bump. So now that we've agreed to work together, and I'm your agent, can I advise you on what's going to happen next? Have every bit of conversation you would have had in the olden days before the knuckle bump, and you get into the mud wrestling and lose the listing because now they're pissed off at you. You have it as their agent, but again, as Matt said, you're not attached. How do you say that?
DFing Tatch.
DF and Tatch. My second question, if there's any Minnesota luxury agents, please hit me up because I got a sweet referral for you. Thank you.
Good. That's great.
I was hoping to do that role play again, but I guess we can do it privately when I have my coaching call with you.
No, we could. Well, you're talking to Matt.
No, not me.
I mean,
You.
it's two
No,
o'clock. Yeah.
it's not going to take. It's going to take 2 minutes. Let's do it. I'm going to end on a good note. Deb, go.
Okay. Okay, after everything we've gone over, are you ready to move forward today with me?
Yeah, I like you and stuff, but I don't like your numbers.
Okay, what don't you like about the numbers, Denny?
Well, you have not taken into consideration. My wife has faux painted every inch of this house, including the ceilings around the mirror in the bedroom, everything. So you're not taking any consideration of that.
Okay, well, I can appreciate that, but the market has shown us today, from what I've shown you, that the home will list
Now
will likely sell for
no.
No, yeah.
no. Okay, I'm skipping a step.
Yes, you are. What's my number?
Yeah, what okay, so yes, what would you like to list your home for, Denny?
You're saying 5. I mean, my house is going to bring it all of 550.
Okay, so if we can initially agree to initially position your home at 550, are you ready to hire me today?
Now I can just envision the days when I would go after the milkshake. We'd go roller skating, Matt. And we'd be skating around holding hands. I can see you going around the roller skating rink nice and smooth. Wasn't that smooth?
Okay.
Right. You don't. So Debbie
Yeah,
and guys,
yeah.
I've got time. So,
Okay.
Yes, guys, we have spent time, expertise, diligence, etc., compiling this information to meet with them. But just look at the chat that I just typed. So Denny said, well, your numbers, he was the seller, well, your numbers are, I don't like your numbers. Guys, I talk about detaching. Well, Denny, the good news is they're not my numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No. And that's part, I have detached so much in my career that I remind him every time. I remind the clients every time. It's not my number. This is what the market's saying. But Denny, what's a number you would like?
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, even the coaches in my office and a lot of the top agents are still putting the pronoun I. I see
Yes,
it in
they are.
panel discussion all the time,
Guys,
you know,
and
and
Denny
I've
and
tried to show them and teach them what you guys have taught me.
well,
That they're
Denny and I have similarities, but we also have our differences. I talk about numbers. I don't talk about the number.
right.
Okay. So I talk about numbers, but I don't talk about the number because Denny doesn't know that number. I don't know that number. And we've been doing this a lot longer than most people on this call. He and I don't know the number. The seller doesn't know the number. It's not my number. These are
Right.
this is what this is appears to be what the market is saying. But Denny, what's the number you would like?
Right.
And then guess what, Debbie? All that other
Yeah.
stuff where then you go back and you start talking about, well, the ranges, throw it away.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't, you just show it to them. And if you have to revisit it and say, because if they ask you like, well, what do you think? Then you can go back and show them again. Well, this is what it appears like the market is saying.
Yes.
Would you disagree with this? I'm asking them, would you disagree with this? And they say, well, no, actually, I wouldn't disagree, but I would really like this. Okay, well, if we position it
That's
that, you
fine.
ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's rock.
Right. And I
So
wish
let's
I had
bookend
said
this,
that.
Deb. Hang on, Deb. I'm gonna book in this
Okay.
now. I'm gonna end it where we started. The reason you can't give them a number is because
I
it's a
understand.
future event.
Exactly.
You don't know
Exactly.
the future. We
Yeah.
know past, present trends.
Yep. So my $1.2 million listing on Anna Maria, remember, started
Yeah.
at 1.2 because it kind of made sense when we got started 6 months ago. We're about to go under 900, guys. No idea. You have no idea.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Sometimes I skip a step. Yeah, but I get it.
Great.
And I really appreciate you guys.
You guys, this takes all the pressure off you. Sometimes
It
you're going to
does.
go out there in these neighborhoods, they've acreage, who knows what. And the typical thing, I can't find a home. You can't find a comp. This is me and you talking, right? Then basically it doesn't matter where you start. The market will always show you in one of three outcomes if you're right or not. And one of the things I would always caution people with is this. In my team, this is the way I roll. If we would list a home and all of a sudden we had all these offers and showings, I would pull the research in and think, whoa, we might have missed this. And we get a listings on the other side that have no activity. That's outcome one. Seller may have missed that. So the market will always speak to you. It only knows one word. It knows no, it acts on yes. Matt, any final words that we put a bow on today?
No, guys. Well, actually, yes. But the final word is detachment, guys. Stop taking this personally. It has nothing to do with you. Find out if they need your help. If they need your help, you have a moral and ethical obligation to do so.
So I'm in bold right now, so I'm going to teach some of this to my team members in bold.
Who's your coach?
Because James Farron, you know him, right?
Yeah, I know James. All right, you guys. Hey, listen, I got to run. Deb, thanks so much. Hey, have any questions? Email me, CoachDannyGrimes@gmail.com, and we'll spend some extra time if you need to. We love you, and have a great weekend.
See you guys.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. All right. See you later.